At the moment, gambling is a very controversial topic. Supporters are throwing out their point of view, and opponents are adamantly countering. Gambling is currently legal in 48 of the 50 states. The only two states which do not permit some form of gambling are Utah and Hawaii. Business owners in Clinton, Iowa were surveyed to determine how they had been affected by the presence of a casino. 12% had said business had increased, 29% had reported a decrease, and 60% said that they did not have any change in business. On a survey done by Wellesley College, they found that an average of $38 per household per month is spent on state gambling sales. That is 2% of the average household consumption that would normally go to non-gambling businesses. The number of independent restaurants in Atlantic City dropped from 48 the year casinos opened to 16 the next. Also in Atlantic City, just 4 years after the casino's arrival, 1/3 of the city's retail businesses had closed. A University of South Dakota study showed that retail and service businesses in South Dakota suffered a net loss of about $60 million in anticipated sales in the year following the introduction of gambling. More than 70% of businesses in Natchez, Mississippi reported declining sales within the first few months of the opening of the city's first casino. In Illinois' riverboat casino towns, only 3% of business owners said their businesses had been helped a lot by the casinos. All other business owners had said that there was a negative effect or no effect on their businesses from the presence of casinos. Throughout my research, I have believed that the expansion of gambling will negatively impact the community. Arguments against the expansion of gambling include: it is not family friendly. It contributes to increases in crime. It results in rises in addiction. It is intrusive on necessary services. Gambling has been expanding for centuries. A variety of civilizations have contributed to gambling in the United States. Keno and Paigan poker came from China. Europe contributed craps, baccarat, roulette, and blackjack. Ancient Rome and Greece sanctioned sports betting. As time has evolved, so have the games, the betting, and the laws governing gambling. In 2014, one of the most discussed and debated forms of gambling expansion is internet gambling. States have tried to pass legislation related to gambling expansion with varying degrees of success. For example, in February of 2014, Pennsylvania introduced legislation to prohibit online gambling. This legislation is still in committee. In March of 2014, California introduced legislation to allow interstate internet poker. This legislation is also still in committee. In May of 2014, legislation to allow for the sale of lottery tickets over the internet failed in Florida. West Virginia introduced a resolution to study internet gaming and lottery. Colorado and Maryland enacted laws prohibiting online lottery sales. There were 3 waves of gambling in the United States. First, lotteries were used to finance the settlement costs of the first colonies. Second, in the 1800s, gambling was a popular way of financing trips to the West. Third, when Nevada again legalized casinos during the Great Depression. During the 21st century, gambling has been one of the country's fastest growing industries. Legalized gambling generates about $100 billion in revenue, nationwide every year. One strong argument against gambling expansion is that it's not family friendly.
If your kids gamble, they're playing with more than just money. They're 3 times more likely to drink alcohol, 4 times more likely to smoke, and are twice as likely to use other illegal drugs. If your kids gamble, they're 3 to 4 times more likely to steal, be in a gang fight, or get in trouble with the law. Youth gambling is not a game.
Large corporations such as Disney outwardly oppose gambling expansion. Walt Disney World spokeswoman Andrea Finger says, "We oppose the legalization of so-called destination resort casinos because this major expansion of gambling is inconsistent with Florida's reputation as a family-friendly destination." Disney is leading by example. They acquired Marvel Comics, which owns licensing agreements for characters on slot machines. They have discontinued Marvel's plans to renew existing licensing agreements. Disney has also halted Marvel's plans to enter into new licensing agreements.
When parents and fans went to watch games in the South Florida Youth Football League last year, this is what surrounded them. Outside the lines documented several examples of illegal gambling throughout last season and at a number of parks. Oftentimes, the gambling occurred in plain view of parents, children, and even police officers. Afterward, we showed our video to local law enforcement and league officials, including league president Michael Spivey.
It's just bad for the other fans that are there, that's there to have a good time. To see that type of stuff it's heartbreaking, it's alarming.
Another argument against gambling expansion is that it contributes to increases in crime.
But for some, beating the house isn't fun and games. It's business. Every day, cheats, con men, and card sharks take millions from the gaming floors.
And here I beat this place right here for 4,000 or 5,000. The one next door to it I beat for 4,000 or 5,000.
Casinos retaliate by going high-tech.
It's a continuous cat and mouse game. They're gonna do one thing to us, we have to now build our machines differently to stop them.
Casting surveillance nets to catch the thieves.
Excuse me, someone security, I'm gonna need you to gather your chips and come with me.
The National Institute of Justice reports problem gamblers are 3 to 5 times more likely to get arrested than the general population. This statistic supports the thought that crime will increase if the expansion of gambling is allowed to continue. Gambling expansion leads to rises in addiction, another big argument that comes along with the topic.
I got involved with gambling, and it kind of took me down. The last 7 years, I spent probably about $35,000 or more. Now I know why people go out and kill themselves. Now I know why people go and do the things that they do, and I never experienced that until I started gambling, going to that.
Many gambling addicts do not realize that they are addicted. This is one of their main problems. They continue to gamble thinking they will win big. Before they know it, many have lost everything they own and have turned to illegal activities to get cash to support their gambling addiction.
My gambling started off innocently enough. I was just playing to have fun. Before long, I was sneaking off to play, skipping work and making excuses. Felt like gambling had a grip on me and I didn't know how to break free. But thankfully, I was able to find help.
It is also argued that gambling is intrusive on necessary services.
Right? I don't gamble anymore. There you go. I do gambling by driving in the city where the money is supposed to have been gone for fixing the infrastructure and trying to avoid potholes. That's gambling. And I gamble by going under the bridges that were supposed to be fixed with the money from gambling. So I guess that's gambling. And I gamble by sending one of my sons to public school or they have no money to fix the walls and get proper educational teachers and proper books and stuff. So I guess that's gambling. So I guess I don't gamble in the old sense of the word, but living nowadays is a gamble. Is that a rant? Well,
Gambling expansion can cause strain on necessary services and infrastructure. It is a fact that gambling expansion leads to increased crime. These increases in crime can lead to a strain in police presence, police investigations, and the need for emergency services such as ambulatory transport and hospitals. Casino-driven traffic can increase traffic and strain local transportation systems and roads with negative consequences. As more cars are added to the roadway, air quality and traffic safety decline. Gambling expansion also adds an increased number of addicts to an already overburdened mental health care system. Many people do not think gambling addiction affects them, but in reality they should, because everyone pays taxes and some of the money collected goes to state agencies that try to stop gambling addictions. Doing this project, I learned that gambling expansion is a significant problem everywhere. Usually when I hear about gambling, I think of slot machines and casinos. This project has made me realize that anyone can gamble on anything, from horse racing to youth football. This helped me realize how big of a topic I was dealing with throughout the year. Also, at the beginning of the year, I did not realize that gambling would put a strain on other necessary services like police and healthcare. Internet gambling is a huge topic to decide to legalize or not. I have never thought of gambling on the internet before. That is one of the fastest expanding parts of gambling at the current moment. Family life is greatly affected by gambling. It is a bad influence on kids, and an addict could spend all of their family's money. In conclusion, if the expansion of gambling is allowed to continue, the effects on the community, family life, and infrastructure of today and the future could be devastating. Healthcare resources would be strained, police would be distracted with crime much more often, and families would be greatly impacted in a negative way. Some states have already started to ban some forms of gambling, and many more will follow. As I have been researching throughout the year, my view on the topic has not changed. The expansion of gambling will negatively impact the community.
It was just one game, he said. I tried to persuade him, but the more I talked, the deeper into it he got. Just one more game, he would say. Soon, his pockets started to go empty. He begged me for money. When I denied, he said, "Some friend."